Game number 1, Goats for Hire against 500 MS. Another Division 7 match, ladies and gentlemen. So, Battlefield of Eternity is our first one, and whoa, meta ban. What's going on here? So, Division 7, in case that you don't know, is usually a skill level between bronze and gold. So, this is kind of supposed to be a little bit fun. We're gonna rip the players a little bit. It's all innocent fun here. No feelings got hurt in the production of this video. Can promise you that much. Players are in on it as well, and yeah, we're going to see what exactly happens here. But normally we're seeing every now and then we see some crazy picks. We see a couple of very insane plays, not on the good, most on the bad side. But yeah, it's actually a pretty good teaching ground as well, just because we can talk about mistakes of what to do better, and at the same time it's a little bit of innocent fun here too. So with that said, we have still Zeratul banned out. Normally a hero that you don't see banned a lot, because most of these teams don't have good Zeratul or Maiev players. So those are two of the heroes that mostly get through the draft without ever getting picked. There's a ban on Varian as well. Windblades not in this game. And a Chromie first pick, as you do on Battlefield of Eternity, as you do. So, yeah, normally, of course, you would see more sort of focus on Tyrande, Hanzo, Li Ming. Those are the heroes that you kind of go for in everything outside of Division 7. But we're having the immediate lockdown on Rhaegar. Because, you know, if you don't pick Rhaegar in the first rotation, he gets picked away. Kappa. Yeah, so it's a lot about preference picks. That's what basically Division 7 is about. It's about preference picks, it's about like which heroes you can play. The hero pools are normally not all that deep, and it's kind of interesting. And there comes the Anubarak and Ana, at least. I gotta admit, I have not seen a chrono boosted Chromie yet. A nano boosted Chromie yet, so that's gonna be new. Sounds kind of dangerous, to be honest with you, now that I'm thinking about it, but that's a setup that so far has not made it into any of the games. Chromie in general has been played once or twice in Division 1 only. Haven't seen her played in Division S, for example, yet. And those Chromies had, let's call it, limited success. Pretty much like the new Lucio, so both of the reworks don't really feel like they kind of worked out the way that Blizzard intended. At least a bit of number tweaking might be needed there. But the Anubarak pick, still showing the aggression. And then the Nano boost for Ana. I'm just curious to see what else they're going to throw into the mix here. As we're having the second ban coming in, or third ban coming in for Goats for Hire, we actually see Sylvanas taken out. Gets a bit more value on the lower levels, as you can imagine. Of course, you try to win the game a little bit quicker with her. But also, what do we have as a double pick? Jimmy? Still pretty meta here. And Artanis! Noob Trap activated! Amateur opponent, you gotta have it. Okay, so we have the Artanis setup. We have really seen very few Artanis that actually brought value to their team, because you heavily rely on good swaps, and most Artanis players have struggled to get those through. The added advantage that you have on Battlefield of Eternity for Artanis is the amateur opponent. Now we're seeing Imperius and Tychus. Jimmy taken on the other side, so we're trying to make sure that you at least get one of the StarCraft 2 characters. A little bit of Tychus action against Garrosh here. And the last pick. Let's see what we're gonna get for that. You still need a bit more damage. I would recommend Li Ming wholeheartedly at this point. And instead it's the bird. The bird's the word, so we're going to get that set up. And that's game number 1, Battlefield of Eternity. Let's jump in and see which team takes the lead here. Game number 1, Battlefield of Eternity, and we have on the left side the Goats for Hire, with Triss J on Anubarak, Honey on Chromie, Roach on Tychus, Scoop on Imperius, and the Sneaky Chief on a Sneaky Ana. Drakvor on Falstad, going straight into the stacks, by the way, here on his level 1 with the Gathering Storm. Amphithis on Rhaegar. We're seeing, oh, Annie missed on Reyna with the Executioner on level 1. Yeah, they definitely want to go for the immortal damage here. Danger Flame on Artanis. Sounds a little bit like Danger Mouse to me. And Snazzy Penguin on Garrosh. There's already a lot of stuff to talk about. Okay, let's start with Falstad. I'm currently really asking myself why exactly they picked Falstad, because there's honestly not really a reason for Falstad to be in this game. It's not a map where you usually get a lot out of the global per se. Normally when you're picking Falstad these days, you're oftentimes trying to at least have some synergy with someone else. So oftentimes there would be a Stitches with Gorge, or at least a Zeratul with a Void Prison, maybe a Cocoon from a Nuborak, or even a Maiev with a Containment Disc. And then once those abilities are used, you're just using your Mighty Gust, you isolate the target, and you can take it down. So that's pretty much one of the setups that you can go for. Falstad in that role doesn't really make a lot of sense, just simply because there were other heroes that were way, way better in that position. And one that we pointed out earlier is Li Ming. Li Ming was the go-to pick here. First of all, she's fantastic for the immortal damage in the middle of the map when you are seeing those stalemates for the poke. And then one of the main reasons why you pick Li Ming in that situation is also that she counters a Nuborak quite nicely. Now there's still that perception that some people have that a Nuborak is a great pick against Li Ming because of the beetles, but a good Li Ming will play around that, and just having the disintegrate to burn down the cocoon is such a fantastic asset where you always trade up in cooldowns that it makes Li Ming a more or less automated pick against a Nuborak in most cases, granted with a few exceptions. So we're actually seeing a massive focus also in talents on the side of 500 MS as they're going against the Immortal here. Executioner taken on level 1. And that is going to be interesting because it means that in teamfights they have a lot less damage that they could put out. But they're going to be able to raise that Immortal down a bit quicker. And Goat's Fire don't really have all that much Immortal damage. It's not that they have none, but if you look at the raise potential here, it's definitely a lot stronger for 500 MS. So they are the ones who probably will try and get some fights through here. In terms of talent, by the way, Chromie just now connecting the first Sandblast 2 minutes into the game. We're also seeing her with the Andoral Anomaly on level 4. Nuborak went into the extra beetle spawns. Not 100% certain why you would do that either. I mean, oftentimes you see it against Li Ming to at least get some value against those orbs that can be thrown out there. Here comes a level 4 on both sides. 7 stacks already for the Gathering Storm. That allows, of course, for quite a little bit of extra burst. And we're actually seeing the updraft, which I don't really mind at all. Updraft is something that you've even seen in HGC times where players like Hazobs played. Hammer Gains is, of course, the go-to that you have, especially since it allows you to self-sustain on the lane itself. But if you're in such a situation that you're just trying to get out, and you will have to do that a lot, then you're in a decent spot. Falstad later on is actually going to be very interesting, because I'm personally curious to see how this is going to pan out when Chromie is starting to get a lockdown on him. Interesting talents here also, with the Master Assassin actually being claimed after Compact Tactician from Tyker. We don't know a ton of build for him here. Fight or Flight still for Jimmy, can appreciate that, and the Indomitable of course too. So now it's all about trying to get access to that Immortal. Both of the teams have the camp up, so they can already use that, and here comes the poke also from the side as they're trying to make their way in. Still Atanas fighting it out with Imperius. There's the swap and the potential kill. Talking about Imperius, he's trying to go for the backline here and attempts to take down Garrosh. That didn't quite work out. And here comes Snazzy Penguin, a little bit snazzy again, but they got the access to the Immortal, and that's an easy halftime show for them. Slicing and dicing, they have the Exterminator, can also use, of course, the Lightning Shield, and with Garrosh zoning slightly for them, they have an easy halftime show right there. Again, when it comes to the Immortal damage, they reign supreme. It's up to the blue team to make up for that disadvantage by forcing the fights and trying to exploit those situations. And they're actually going for it right now, and they're making the play for the Penguin! And he can be as snazzy as he might be, but he's dead right there. Could have made the follow-up against also the dog, but the dog gets away. And now they're in this awkward situation where they have to defend, but they also need someone to do damage over on the left side, and they don't really have a lot of heroes that are good with this. Now again, other heroes that might have been good choices for them to get the Immortal down. Keep in mind, Hanzo was not picked, wasn't banned. He would have been a great choice there. Could have gone for Li Ming yourself. That's a nice setup though, and the updraft already finds some value, but we have the Immortal taken after all. And 25 stacks now for Falstad. Falstad is actually going to start to get a lot of burst damage out there. That's going to work quite nicely for them. Yeah, the red team has a good chance of actually just taking this, despite the things that we talked about it earlier, just simply because we're also not quite having the setup that oftentimes would be needed here on the other side. And Chromie is currently having some decent trouble getting the connections in. 9 stacks already, should change now and fire away here quite easily, and with this many heroes sticking around, that should be an easy couple of sandblasts. Boomerang needed now for false stat to really get the damage out, and that's what he's going to try. As long as he gets those hits in. Sitting at 29 at this point. Pretty early in the game, actually, for that stack, for the stacks to be this high. Breaking through the wall. And when it comes to damage, Chromie trying to do what she can, but it's not quite as much as you would expect here. Here comes also the setup against the immediate fort at the bot lane, and this looks more and more like we're actually going to see that fort fall with the first Immortal already. It's a bit uncommon. They poke a bit more. Nice, the updraft value again. But also the rotation, and Imperius, he misses it. Still Chromie with decent damage, but it's just simply not enough. With Scooper missing lunge, that was definitely a bit of a problem. He connects that and it's a different story altogether. So now that we are having Jimmy not with the ace in the hole on level 1, he decided also to go into Fuel the Rush on level 7. So makes the adjustment there. Artanis still hasn't made his own choice yet. Talent's now coming in also for Chromie, who obviously has access to level 10 at this point. Temporal Loop could be used if Anubara gets the stun out afterwards. That would work for them. Definitely like that a little bit more than the Slowing Sands. And we have the Temporal Loop definitely taken. Alright, so with that said, they're going to try and make their way through the bottom. Again, they need kills, they need team fights, they need to make sure that they are going to win this, because just racing the Immortal, not working. Definitely not working on that. That is just not going to be a thing. Artanis with a choice now. A Solarite Reaper with the dash here. And they're starting to get a bit too much pushed at the bot lane. Now keep in mind, with the Nubarak, especially the level 1 talent, ooh, Beetles on 7! Leeching Scarabs now taken 2. Don't see that too often. So yeah, more or less a full Beetle build for him. Not quite, but still, it's getting there. The thing is that Anubara can obviously dive the forts and spawn a couple of beetles to soak those fort shots, and that allows his team to dive in pretty deep. Chromie finally able, after Blizzard heard those cries, to attack also mercenaries and even minions on the wave. So not a meme anymore. Blizzard destroying memes in 2019. Well, here comes the level 10 for both of the teams soonish. Chromie could already go for the play. Oh, there's a damage attempt, but not enough. Chromie, no temporal loop from her. I actually expected them to try and capitalize on that as they're pushing in, but you can see the problem. Few seconds on the Immortal, zip, down to 60-70%. They need kills. So far they have gotten only 1, and that didn't come at the time where it really mattered. They can lunge in right now, and they get Jimmy. There's the follow-up, and Chromie, yes, the damage is there. That's time for the temporal loop, but still not used. Halftime show is already over. We need a bit more kills. But towards the end of the game, that's a bit of a different story, because then those death timers are going to be higher, and you can play around them. They are able to zone this out now nicely. Yeah, with Jimmy still down, 10 abilities are there. On both sides, by the way. Falster, maybe even looking for the Gust. Here comes the Cocoon already as they're trying to burn this down as quickly as they can. Gust is in, but there comes Tigers with the Odin 2, and this one looks more and more like it's going to be a win for Goats 4 higher. Yep, they take Immortal number 2, and they're diving in deep for this one. Nice throw against Anubarak. And that actually showcases one thing that I mention on the higher levels of play all the time, but we normally don't see it capitalized on. So this is exactly the situation where it can be tricky as an Anubarak player to play against Garrosh. You dive in, you miss the stun, and Garrosh throws you in deeper, and all of a sudden you're dead. This is exactly the problem that Anubarak oftentimes has when he plays against Garrosh. And if a Garrosh player pays attention to this, he will try and dodge the stun and simply throw Anubarak in deeper. And without the cooldown ready on the burrow charge, you can't get out anymore. So they're actually pushing through the bot lane now, the blue team is. As 3 heroes are defending the top lane, they're trying to get value down here. Has Chromie used her ult yet? That was another good setup where Chromie could have actually used it against Rhaegar, and they might have been able to get a bit more damage in. Yeah, another good one right here. Chromie, definitely a little bit stingy when it comes to that cooldown. 19 stacks so far. Ana is the one who says, like, I hate walls. And he takes it down. Ana Mexican confirmed. Up to the top. We're having now Danger Flame starting to push the wave through in, and at least Imperius is there. So we're having the experience soaked. A little fight down at the bottom of the map. That's a bit of a different story though. So they took the camp already, which was pretty important here. Level 13 is now also in with a gnome speed ahead. So you get a little bit more value out of this one, at least gonna try. Top lane, the 1-on-1 just continues. Still waiting for that big setup here against Fawcett, for example. And look at Fawcett, by the way, on his level 1. He actually started to have a bit of a problem on getting additional stacks in. He was really quick at the beginning of the game. But now it starts to become more of a problem for Drugwar. And again, he is going to be one of the primary targets for Temporal Loop later on too. Now you have to time it, of course, properly before he has a chance to get the either the Mighty Gust or even the barrel roll in. But at the same time, if you can connect damage with him, he suffers from the low HP pool. So that's a huge problem. Now Immortals spawning up again. And I'm a little bit curious to see how this one is going to go. Because as I said before, blue team, they need to make the plays. They need to be aggressive here. 19,000 damage, by the way, on the side of Imperius for now. Falstad with more damage than Jimmy at this point. That shows you a little bit what a problem it can be if you don't have ace in the hole. Chromie actually softening them up early on already. Armament being used as Imperius in slight trouble. Here comes the Cocoon, on comes the Gust, and there's the Temporal Loop. And some damage is in, but they can't get the kill yet. Oh, maybe! Yeah, there it is! Jimmy is down, and that's the kill that they needed. The blue team making the plays, getting their level 13 for the rest of the bunch as well, outside of Chromie herself. And with that, we're having the red team now starting to struggle. It's great if you have a lot of burst against the Immortal, but if you're losing the fights, that doesn't do anything for you in the later stages. Great swap on the other hand. Artanis with a value swap right there. And in comes Odin. Already Trist. Look at that damage from Chromie. And the hit, the last hit. What a kill stealer. Imperius goes down and Artanis follows shortly after. Yeah, 5 kills against 1, and the blue team is starting to get quite a bit of momentum right now. Giddy up, Falstad actually also going for the Giant Killer, despite the fact that he didn't go into his Seasoned Marksman on level 1. Yeah, camp's taken. But it's going to be another easy one. So, this highlights pretty much the problem that the red team has right now. They're actually lacking kind of damage in team fights. They're having a lot of their hopes on Jimmy without ace in the hole, going for Exterminator here. They're also looking at Falstad, who's just not able to get enough damage in outside of the boomerang damage with the initial charge. And this is starting to become an issue for them. Again, I'm coming back to the draft, and I'm coming back to Li Ming as the perfect option for them at the end of the draft that they could have used there. Now, they could have made a couple of other adjustments as well. I talked about Artanis quite a lot, and on that off lane you could have gone into an Arthas, you could have gone into Thrall, Malthael would have been an option, depending on how you want to play. There's a lot of stuff that they could have done here, but they decided against it, and now they are having to try and get the value out of Artanis in another way. But they have also, outside of the taunt, very little lockdown. Here comes the ult. Again, immediately the Cocoon on the ground too. And Chromie with massive damage. That Gust just comes a moment too late. The Immortal is pulling through as we have Jimmy already down. And that's one of the main damage dealers here. So this wall is going to fall. So they're starting to go in again. Here come the stuns. Chromie has just all the safety in the world that she really needs there. In comes Artanis, a little bit too deep, and nearly falls as we have a great launch connect from Imperius. Yeah, but 16 is now also only half a level away, and the red team is suffering. They're suffering a lot here. Down goes the keep, and that is an early keep. 14 minutes in. A lot of structures down. The structure on the other side might be damaged, but it's just not working at this point. So when it comes to the damage output, Falstad's still sitting at 22,000 and being the top damage dealer on the team here. Then you look to the other side, and Nubrak has 22,000. We have Imperius, Tychus, and also Chromie way ahead of that. So everybody is just dishing more damage out. Jimmy is sitting at 14k, and that is just simply not enough in that instance here for him to make a difference. Now we have a lot of siege damage coming out from every single hero on that lineup, and obviously with Artanis having the amateur opponent, that definitely works. Jimmy himself has also 46,000, but outside of that, it's the team fights that are starting to become a big problem. As already predicted early on, here comes the epicenter now, and the epicenter connects with 3. Good Hyperion value though, and also good value from the rest, but in comes the kill against Rhaegar as Chromie uses the time loop, and they're going for the bird too. Barely able to get away here, but they can still make the play for the penguin. And there goes down, snazzy and all. Top lane value in the meantime. Shouldn't really get too much done here because the team is already on retreat and just going straight for that. But as it happens, the bot lane gets pressured pretty heavily, and this brings us back to Nubarak. Go in, soak a couple of the shots, take another tower down, and then go for the objective here. And with level 15 on the other side, it means that you're also a talent down. Now Forcer still continued with the extra stacking on his level 1, but for him to change the tides of the battle, it's going to be difficult. 36 stacks on Chromie, by the way. Hasn't completed that yet, but with another 4, we're going to see that little power spike for her too. And that, of course, comes just as the Immortal is in play. So now all of a sudden we're talking 8 kills against 1. And the kill count is matter. Like the way these games go, it really matters if you're the team that gets more kills, because as the game progresses, the death timers rise. So those kills are starting to become more and more valuable for you. And they're winning the objective as well, even though they have a lot less Immortal clear. Which showcases again that it's oftentimes a bad choice to just go into this. There comes a gust into the taunt though. That was a decent idea, but it just doesn't work out for them right now. They just don't get the kill. Imperius is trying to make the play, and Chromie still fighting, and this is looking really bad. Ancestral gets out, but Rhaegar is still dead. Here comes the time loop, and Artanis falls as we have the penguin dying too, and they're going for Jimmy. Jimmy, oh, the lunge and the kill. It's going to be a 5-man wipe. They're going for false set here, and this should be the first death of him as well. Stun and down. And with now the bottom keep already falling, the top being pushed, they can simply go for the core here. Chromie completing her level 1. The keep is falling, and so will the core, as we're seeing the goats for hire moving in against 500 MS to take them down. Imperius with the top damage in the game here, sitting at nearly 42,000. But the core already falling. Massive pressure, and goats for hire with a victory against 500 MS on Battlefield of Eternity. Game number 1 in Division 7. Cursed Hollow, game number 2. The goats in the lead. 500 MS, specking a little bit too hard in their draft onto the objective and couldn't win the team fights. So goats for hire, despite the fact that they had a little bit of a weird setup there themselves, took them out. So we'll see what's happening now in game number 2, because I already said it. I mean, Falstad has been played on Battlefield of Eternity. If you play the bird on that map, there's a good chance that you're playing the bird on Cursed Hollow, which is a map where he actually gets a lot more value out of the global and out of the gust as well. So we'll see if that's going to be happening. Dibbles and Zeratul, both of them get banned again. So Sylvana's banned in one of the previous ones, so that's a Chromie ban. We're done with that shit. No more Chromie for you. Second map could decide the best of 3, and the bird gets banned. Okay, so Goats for Hire are pretty much looking at this and saying like, I played a false stat there. And he only died once, so let's ban him out as well. Alright, Imperius gets picked away. So that's already... it's a little bit of hate against Goat for Hire, right? I mean, Imperius was the top damage dealer in the game. He definitely did a lot of work for them. So now that they are not getting the Artanis value here, they're picking Imperius away on the first pick. It's always just baffling to me. It's how meta definitely changes. Again, no Maiev pick, no Hanzo. We're not seeing anything along the lines of Tyrande. But we have the Insta Sylvanas pick and Junkrat as well. So the damage dealers are already set here. A lot of poke, decent wave clear. Sylvanas can go for the bosses, of course, too, but it's all about disabling the structures whenever you push. There's the global, and this time in from Danger Flame, which also means that Imperius is a main tank in this game. Li Ming gets played too. And yeah. What do you ban out here? I mean, supports haven't even been taken yet. Okay, there's the Rhaegar ban, just simply assuming, well, you played Rhaegar once, you're probably going to try and play him again. So let's see that. And what are they banning out now? I mean, they can ban out a tank again, so if they don't want to deal with the noob rock, just ban a noob again. That would work too. Unless you don't, I'm afraid of Garrosh. Ana! Yeah, that nano boosted Junkrat is a problem. Oh, ETC, okay. Potential stage dive, potential offlaner to mirror Dehaka's movement. If that's actually the thought process here, then I'm all on board. The next melee is going to tell us at least that. But I assume that we're going to see the support being picked now. Karazim! Alright, the man with the sexy hairstyle. Karazim is an interesting pick here too. Karazim, it's a wild combo that we're having here. With ETC, Malfurion would have been good, Tyrande would have been great, Power Slide in any kind of lockdown, but nope, none of that. And a Tracer Tyrande. They could have gone for Tracer Malf, but they decide not to. So Tracer Tyrande with Li Ming. I am really interested in this game now. This is going to be an interesting game for sure. Yeah, Tracer loves to play with Malfurion. That heal over time just works quite well for her when she goes in deep. Tyrande then again can always follow up on Imperius' stun. And there's an Alarak on the last setup. Okay, so ETC is going to be our main tank. He's not going to go... He might still go stage dive, but he is playing the main tank role here. So it's less likely that he's going to mirror Dehaka. Yeah, Curse Solo, game number 2, everybody. Goats for hire in the lead. Here in Division 7 of Heroes Launch. Let's see if they can make it a 2-0. Let's head straight into Curse Solo. Game number 2, Cursed Hollow, and we have on the left, seen Goats for Hire with Triss J on ETC, Honey on Sylvanas, Roach on Junkrat, Scooper on Alarak, and the Sneaky Chief on the Sneaky Karazim here today. With the right side team, 500 MS with Drakvor and Tyrande, Snazzy Penguin on the Snazzy Imperius, Amphithis on Tracer, Danger Flame on Dehaka, and Annie Mist on Li Ming. Charge Blast and 1, and hola, what is that? Sustaining Power. Okay, so apparently someone doesn't trust Karazim here. I mean, I gotta admit that at least he didn't go into Insight, so that's already a big plus, but that's not quite the Alarak talent that I expected on level 1. So, yeah, that's it. Going for Tracer, she's going straight into the Tracer rounds here. And we have the Force Armor taken on level 1 for Li Ming. I'm curious to see if we have the combo with Tyrande waiting with her stuns for the lunge on Imperius and just follow up on that. They have the potential of actually going for a great setup. I mean, you can always just pinpoint or put a bullseye onto a target by syncing those 2 stuns up and making sure that you put the Hunter's Mark on, and then Li Ming just, yeah, she can blow that target into the next dimension if they can do that. Danger Flame at the top gets attacked. We have so far, well, we have actually Unfurling Shadows on the side of Sylvanas, so she can try and stack that. We're going to keep an eye on that too. But yeah, Dehaka. It's actually interesting to see that the Alarak has taken the bot lane and hasn't gone top to deal with Dehaka here. We have a very weird lane setup. I'm also liking the owl that was just sent cross map. I'm not quite sure if you saw that, but it didn't really target anything that's important. I mean, he could have gone for the camp and sniffed that out, but that's not the case here. So currently Li Ming, with the immense wave clear that she brings to the table, is dealing with those siege giants by alone, some also missing the missiles. I'm sorry for showing this, Annie, but that was just too good. Okay, so oh, all right. So this is it's only a matter of minutes, guys. They should have sent. I mean, I don't know. Like, this is not really working quite well for them. This is taking a little bit too long to give them value. But yeah, so at the top lane, we're still having them trying to deal with the siege giants as they're already breaking through those turrets, and even Drakvor has started to rotate top because he's attempting to help out with that. I mean, they need to, because those 2 siege giants, they get mad value now. If Alarak plays his cards right at the bottom, what he's going to do is also play around the telekinesis, of course, a little bit. Yep, there's already pushing that in a little bit further, so it has an easier time. It's still a 1-for-1 at the bot lane. Nobody's rotating up. Now, Tracer could actually rotate up. It's really surprising to me that she doesn't do that, because Tracer rotating would be really good since Alarak still has to deal with those siege giants, so she would be at the top lane a little bit quicker and could help the team to secure the first tribute while Alarak still is bot lane. So Tracer is now making that rotation, okay. So a little bit later than I expected, but still making it. Still a 4 versus 4 that the team takes, and Alarak is still dealing with the bot lane. But now it's a 5 versus 4 here for the time being. Random stun coming from Tyrande. And the drag, and now that stun is missing. But talking stuns, the power slide comes in from ETC. Yeah, seeing so far, no channel there. Nobody cares about that tribute. Nobody cares at all. Tracer with a quick recall. Oh! And actually gets away with 90 HP. The curse or the tribute also got eventually channeled here. But yeah, a little bit of a random fight, if we're honest. A slight lead in experience, then again, that we have 4 goats for hire. But the first objective... Alright, the chase is on. They want to have ETC and he's trying to get away. Dehaka just burrowed in with a global to get the kill against ETC. Oh my god. Alright, they really want him. And they're sacrificing a tower at the top lane for that. And at the bot lane, they're losing out on the entire experience here. God, I'm crying. Woo. Spicy, spicy. So yeah, Dehaka burrowing in was maybe overcommitting a little bit. You don't have to 4-man that ETC. I mean, he's pretty dead if you're going in for it. So yeah, they still have a bit of a bush trap set up, and I'm pretty sure someone is moving into this. Liming is moving in too. And Tyrande gives it away. But they could still get the kill. Nice setup. I like it. I like it. Where's the bomb? Doesn't have one. Oh! But gets him. Nice. Look at that. Problem is Tracer's gonna fall too. Oh! Junkrat with a kill. But Tyrande got the second tribute, and that's quite something. So, all good. Second tribute is in. Talking about seconds, 2 stacks currently on the Unfurling Shadows for Sylvanas. We have Possession taken as the level 4 talent. ETC still wants to have a little bit of wave clear, so he went Echo Paddle here. And we have a significant lead in experience for Goats for Hire, despite the 2 deaths that they suffered at the hands of their opponent, which pretty much comes because of the missed rotations onto the lane to catch the minion experience. So that was a bit of a problem that they had. Roach is firing away from a safe distance. Alarak with the Chaos Reigns here. And in the meantime, we're having the Dissonance take. So definitely a little bit of an alternative Alarak build that we're currently having for him. You don't see that too often, so it's not gonna go for the stacks on level 1 there, level 4, but now we're having another tribute, and it's still without level 10 abilities on either side, so this could be the first curse of the game if the red team is able to get that again. Oh, but Tyrande, and she gets away. Sneaky Chief on the other hand, he doesn't care about all of this, so he's just simply saying, I got it, boys. So they get the tribute. It's all about trying to make sure that you are getting level 10 as your opponent does too. Dehaka burrowed in for this as well. I feel one of the things that I really want to let people know that might be playing on the lower leagues too is you don't have to overcommit resources. If you, for example, realize you won't be able to get a tribute because your opponent has a better position on the tribute already, you don't need your global to move in. Instead, it's oftentimes better to keep the global on the other side of the map then and get some value, which means that you're trying to push out one wave into the towers of your opponent, and then they lose out on experience, or you maybe are able to take down a structure as well. Now that, of course, requires your team to realize that you're not there and to not fight. Instead, they can just poke a little bit and try to delay that tribute even further. But in a situation like this, using your resources, aka cooldowns, with the global, for example, isn't always the most advisable thing. So you can definitely give things up. Dehaka, yeah, wow. Mosh pit, and Dehaka is still not falling. Dehaka is still not dead. He's finally dying, I think. Yeah, ETC takes him down. That took way longer than expected. But with Dehaka finally being dead, the level 10 abilities on the side of 500 MS are probably going to do very little to help him out here. A good interrupt, though, against Alarak, since nobody eats the owl. So that means that we're having now 2 tributes against 2 tributes. Level 10 on both sides. The camp still was taken, so we can get a little bit of value mid lane if they use that spell aura that they have, but it gets attacked right away. Already gone, and there we go. So, blue team definitely does better around the minion experience, which should be reflected here as well. Yep, minion experience, just have a quick look at it. Actually much better for the blue team. 3,000, that's a huge difference here. It's a massive difference when it comes to that, and it all comes through them just soaking that a little bit better. And it can be quite impactful, especially if we continue that trend. The problem is that the 5th tribute is actually spawning on the left side. Bit of an advantageous position for Gods for Hire. And we have especially these bad boys need to make their way over. Alright, already using... not really using the ult yet. Good damage. They're starting to move around here, but the tribute is spawning, and we're having, yeah, nicely done. Tracer pushing out the bot lane, so this is one that's lost, but they still have to fight for the tribute eventually. So Tracer, despite the fact that she really wants that tower, should start to make the rotation over to this one, and she doesn't. This is not the case where you can just simply try and give a tribute up. That's not quite what I was talking about, because now you're actually cursed. If you are accepting the curse, then at least keep Dehaka at the top side so that he can push this out and try to defend those lanes a little bit. We're having a massive commitment at the bottom of the map, and they're starting to break through that too. That's a blue team. The blue team is going to lose out on a bit of experience in minions now because, well, they are not catching any of that, whereas Dehaka can still claim this one, decides against it, and keeping Tracer in that position. That fort is definitely going to fall, so the rotation into the mid lane has now been started by the Goats for Hire to try and see if they can maybe get a second fort, I assume. They don't have level 13 yet, but if they can take down another structure, that would be great for them too. And Dehaka's taking the top side. F works, deadly charge into the back. Tracer again on the run and gets away here. Nicely done by Amphithis, so still able to keep himself alive. And Tracer now escaping towards the top, whereas we're seeing Dehaka trying to defend the top lane as much as he can. Bot lane is still a focus. That's a pretty big commitment. Someone needs to go down there and make sure that he at least catches the experience. Nice stun setup here from Imperius, but nobody following up on that either. So instead of having 2 heroes at the top, which you really don't need, what Tracer should have done is just Hearthstone back after she was safe and then rotate down to the bottom to catch the experience. Now Li Ming is currently there and is at least getting one of the waves, but this is pretty much 2 waves that were there. I think even a bit more than that. So they could have gotten pretty much all of it. So again, keep the map in mind, check the minimap out. Li Ming was safe, they saw 5 heroes in the middle, so there was no threat of her getting taken out, so she could have just simply Hearthstone back, leave the top lane to Dehaka, and then move to the bottom to get the experience there. Or have someone else rotate into that position. Now as it stands, we're actually having not even a talent lead. This is one of the problems that you sometimes have. Look at it. Look what just happened. We had a lead for the blue team in experience. They got a curse, and now they're behind. Well, that's a good kill, though. And now they're behind. So one of the reasons why that happened is because they are in the setup where they actually lost a lot of the minion experience. That was one of the biggest problems that they had. If the opponent's minion... That's the easiest bomb that she ever had. 15 HP! Tracer! Gets the kill and dies herself. Oh, that game, it's awesome. I love it. This is awesome. Mid lane, that's why we're actually having another fort taken out. I was about to talk a little bit about the experience. So if your minions, or if the minions of your opponent only have a hit point, it means whenever 2 minion waves collide, the opponent's minion wave gets taken out immediately. If you don't have a hero in the vicinity, that minion wave is lost experience to you. So if your opponent soaks all the waves that are pushing in, they can make up for an experience need. So we'll oftentimes, during a curse, see teams at least try and soak as many of those waves as they can while still having 2-3 heroes push structures. Or even dive behind a fort to take something down depending on the vision that you have on the map. So that's how we are having even experience in those two teams, despite the fact that there was a curse already in play. Now, obviously, since the experience has been changed by Blizzard a few months back, when now the passive experience is going, or the passive experience gain is increased as you have taken down structures of your opponent, over time, the blue team still will regain that lead because now they get the advantage in passive experience because 3 forts are down. This is still an attempt to go for that one. Mosh pit against 1, interrupted immediately by Li Ming. Could still be a channel down here. ETC is low and goes down. The 7-sided with a bit of value, but not enough. And with Alarak down, Sylvanas is likely to fall too. We'll try and go in for that and get saved by Li Ming. Alright, but they're going to get this one at least. So they're going to get the curse set up against the opponent with 2 down. That's actually impactful. Could even try and get the boss, to be honest, and then get the curse, but they are sticking it out with this one for the time being. That's going to be mad value mid lane, by the way. With that camp, whew, this is going to be spicy. This is going to be doing a lot of work. Now, Dehaka should still try and get some experience, so they don't have to 5-man this at the bot lane. They can literally just have Dehaka soaking experience on another lane, top lane, for example. Half stone back, move to the top, get the experience here, and then global in whenever really need be. So they're getting a fort in the bottom. They're not quite able to take the one here in the middle. Dehaka still hasn't moved topside, and those 2 siege giants, they're not affected by the curse. Those two do value. So what they're trying to do instead is make the play for the keep at the bottom of the map. ETC comes in again. Well, he needs to be careful. There, oh my god, like Alarak goes in. Alright, completes at least 1 with the levels 4s, but we already have a quick barrage of grenades coming to greet them. And again, this at the top side, that's experience lost for them. All of this just goes down at this point, as you can tell. And nobody is there to soak it. So, again, similar situation. Even experience at first, and now the lead because of the passive experience gain for the Goats for Hire. So, it's a little bit of a back and forth game that we have now. The focus fire, by the way, has been now taken. Okay. Not a talent that you see a whole lot. That said, when it comes to builds, we're also having the Will of the Forsaken now claimed on the side of Sylvanas, who so far hasn't really been able to get a lot of stacks for her level 1. Sitting at 29, the boss with mad value. Ah, nicely done. Look at that, Danger Flame anticipating it and then boring away. Now, the blue team hasn't sniffed that out at any point, so if the red team is making a smart move, they're going for double boss right now. So you move down, you deal with this. If you can kill Junkrat, that would be fantastic. If you can't, they should be able to be honest. And they will. Junkrat dead, that's great. And now you can move to the boss at the bot lane. And again, you're not really taking that boss unless you have top lane vision. Now they see Karazim, and that's the go sign. Now you're going for the boss. You see Karazim, you know they're defending, Junkrat is already dead, so now you can go and take the second boss here. Tracer still gets caught, but doesn't die through that. So now they're getting the second boss, and with that they can then push the bot lane a little bit harder. There's already an owl sent up to the top, which connects there too. Boss is taken out, but you get the second boss, so that gives you the value on the bot lane, and you can push with this. So you can either push with that right now, or you can, yeah, just try and get the rest of the map, get the experience at the top lane, deal with the middle. The interesting part to me is that Goats for Hire never really made a boss play. They had several chances, and they have Sylvanas, so you would assume that this is something that they would like to do. Now Dehaka can still burrow in, so that's something that they are of course planning to do at this point. That stun against the tower doesn't really do a lot. That's a cooldown you want to save for Imperious Engage, so that Li Ming has an easy target. So again, cooldowns and the way that you use them really matter. In terms of damage, Imperious still rocking the charts here. This could actually be a third game if this game continues like this. 6 kills against 4, leading experience. 500 MS is doing a lot better at this point. Alright. Dehaka now at the top lane. Needs to, I mean, he really wants to have that tribute apparently, but he also, someone needs to deal with this. Can't let that one go alone. So that keep is super low. What are you waiting for? If you're already going there, channel it. Alright, so he channels it. Vision is now taken by Tyrande, so they get this one. And with that, we're having them with 1. But as you can see down at the bottom of the map, That keep is likely to take a little bit more damage. Tracer is the one who finally starts dealing with that situation. Tyrande gets sniped on the right side, though. That doesn't really help their cause either. That's going to be a top lane push, considering how this game has gone so far. Yeah, that keep could go down, so they're stealing the camp away. Honestly, with Junkrat, you're pushing top lane now. That's a free keep right there. No, 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 no. Top lane. No, 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 no. Top lane. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Bad goats. Bad goats. Top lane. Bad goats. Free keep. Free. Minions. Catapults. Junkrat. Free. Alright. They don't want to. Keeps overrated. Mercenary camps. So they're trying to get the mercenary camp at the bottom, but they can't. Because it's taken already. And at least they're in position now for the tribute. So they can take the early position on this one. This top keep is actually going to cost me my last hair, to be honest with you. I mean, that is going to fall to a catapult. I already see that coming from a mile away right now. Dehaka, I don't know why Dehaka is in top lane at this point. Again, you have the global. Use the global. The global has to be used. This is not efficient. There are no Germans on these teams. This is unacceptable. Alright, so yeah, that top keep is down. Dehaka decides that he just likes it. He likes company, so he's at the bottom of the map right now. He's saying like, okay, cool, I got this. So they are losing the top keep, but they get the second tribute. So Dehaka could be top side, but he just didn't want to. No other reason than that. The teams are both heading into level 20, by the way. So now, why is Tracer dealing with this? Why is Dehaka in the middle? Can someone please explain to me why the global hero is just sitting in the 4-man right now? And the hero without wave clear tries to deal with the top lane. This is actually starting to tilt me. Okay, again, just to reiterate, if you have a global hero in your team, make sure that your global hero doesn't use the global outside of moving towards the team or after a team fight onto the other lane. So Dehaka at this point has no business being in the 5-man, like none whatsoever. There's the drag and there's the kill. I love how Alarak just hesitated for a moment and was like, they could be in this bush. And then instead of just checking, he was like, nah, and moved past it. But yeah, coming back to Dehaka. This is a curse, by the way. Dehaka has no business being in the 5-man. Dehaka has to sit topside and push out the lane as much as he can, especially since there's, of course, catapults there and siege shines, and then deal with it at some other point. Just burrow in. So now they have a curse, and what they need to do is defend. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's my boy. That's my boy. Okay. So Dehaka is starting to defend now against all of this stuff, and he really has to. They are pushing the bot lane in the meantime. And they're starting to take the keep. And this is going to be... Tyrande, stop doing that. And they need to take the keep down. There's no mosh pits. We're still seeing, especially, of course, good old Li Ming staying as far away as they can. Move away now. There's nothing else to gain. You're not going to end the game here. Move away and take the boss or something. Take the mid keep, sorry, the mid fort first. But getting the bottom, that's the first thing that you could do. Okay. Danger Flame is getting the experience for them. Having the 20s now. Get the mid, this is a situation where they could have just rotated after having vision straight through the middle, take this, and then move away as they're doing now. But they're going to the top boss apparently, and the blue team double checking the bottom boss in the meantime. Curse kinda over at this point, and it seems to me like we're gonna see, yeah, boss versus boss. Owl at the bottom has already sniffed that out, and this is actually the first time that we could see Sylvanas get a bit of value out of disabling structures. So, well, up to the top. Now we have the boss now taken. Blup. That's already a big one. Now Dehaka can push with the boss, and then they can start to set up the defense at the bot lane. With 21 minutes on the board, this is a goner. This is already down. But it was definitely a missed opportunity to take this one. Now, they have to rotate bot side. They don't have to push this anymore. They can't really do too much here. They need to set up the defense at the bottom of the map. I'm not sure what the game plan here is. If they're trying to outpush the Sylvanas, that's not really working. Okay, there's even the Siege Giant camp now taken. And at the top of the map, they're moving back. Why Dehaka is also Hearthstoning, I don't know. Don't tell me you're getting interrupted again. Alright, Dehaka is the one who could have stayed at the top lane and push out the keep a little bit more. Down at the bottom. Ooh, danger! Oh, goes down. Dehaka is dead. And guys, this could be game. That was an easy fort, an easy keep right there. And now with the siege shines and everything, look at the mosh pit. Nice interrupt from Li Ming, but the kill against Imperius is still coming through. And that is gonna be game, isn't it? I mean, they're trying. The boss of the top lane still gets a lot of value. As I said before, Dehaka should have pushed that out a little bit before he moves back in. Has a kill and a reset for Li Ming, but it is just not enough. 500 MS goes down, and Goats for Hire take the 2-0 victory in Division 7. GG. Well played.